Basi pusha every day. Pusha every day. Pusha every day. Pusha.
Good day, good people. Hope everybody is well. Hope the hustle is going well. Hope the money is coming in. You're selling them those products. You're closing those deals. Clients are coming in. You're starting. As I said, the aim is to share, man. The aim is to share. If you like it, hit like. Subscribe. You know, the aim is to share, nothing else. I might change a mindset one day. You know, it's just a different way of looking at things. It's not to say anybody else is wrong. It's just to listen to how someone else did it. That's what the Hustle Continues is about. Welcome if you were watching for the first time. And welcome again if you have been watching. Clearly you're liking something. Or maybe you're giving us one last try. What I want us to talk about is going through the most. You know, it's suffering. Suffering is the wrong word, because if you're going through the most for what you want, then it's not suffering. You know, you're just paying your dues. And you're learning, you know, it's just school fees, you know. So that's what I want to talk about today, you know, just going through the most. A lot of people are scared to go through the most for what they want. A lot of people are embarrassed. Scared is actually an understatement. They're too embarrassed to suffer. They're too embarrassed to struggle for what they want, you know. It's always about what will the people say, or how will I look, how will I not look, you know. So they're too embarrassed. It's the minute you think about the next man, it means you're embarrassed, you know. It means you're doing something that's not cool. Because with every risk in business, there's two sides to that coin. You can either succeed or you can fail, if we need to use that word, you know, because in both cases you learn. So a lot of people don't focus on what if I succeed, which is the good thing, which is a big motivator, but they don't focus on what if I succeed. They always focus on what if I fail, simply because what if I succeed has no repercussions that are bad, you know. It's all good things. If you succeed, you got the money, or people write about you, you become content in a good way, you know. Everybody wants to interview you. Everybody thinks, you know, they can learn from you. You know, nobody wants to learn from people that fail, and those are the ones you need to learn from, actually. But anyway, even our banks, you know, they don't want you if they're not sure 100% that you're going to succeed. And every other funding structure in this country, you know, they'll want take-on agreements. They want so many guarantees that this thing is going to succeed. So I think nobody wants to go through the most and suffer. Their banks don't want to get embarrassed on your behalf. They're not your friends, you know, and say, we funded this idiot, you know, we funded this loser, you know. They want to fund successful things that give returns and give good PR, you know, that we have funded so many businesses and they're all successful and blah, 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 you know. People don't want to speak about the bad. And the bad is actually where you learn. Is where you learn. You know, people sometimes say to me, Debs, I'd like to follow you around so I can learn from you. I'm like, no, you go and experience it. After you fail, you can come and sit with me, and you tell me what happened. You tell me what you did. I might be able to tell you why you failed. You know, because sometimes a third party can tell you how you failed. Third party, you know, can look at things from a distance and be able to say, you got it wrong here and there. And that might open your eyes, because sometimes you're too immersed in the problem. That makes it difficult for you to realize where you're going wrong, let alone the solution. So sometimes even if people don't give you the solution, they can point out where you went wrong, and maybe when someone points out where you went wrong, it might just light a bulb to say, I've got my solution, even if they're not the ones that gave you the solution. So I'm going to make an example about a time when I went through it. I've had lots of those, but I'm going to make an example with one. And this was when I was trying to, if you know me, or if you've watched a few of the previous channels, I'm sure you might have picked up that I've worked in corporate before, and at the same time been an entrepreneur, and worked in corporate and been an entrepreneur, just like that. So I've had 3 corporate jobs in my life, and in the one I got fired, in the one I got retrenched, and in the one I resigned. So I've experienced pretty much how the 3 feels, what it's like to leave forcefully to a point where you go through a CCMA and the whole shebang, man. So one of the examples is around there, when I was in between that process. So I had just been fired by SAB, went through a very rough patch, even moved back home. I already had a house by then, so I even moved from my house back home. I'd lost my house, it was even getting vandalized. And now I had just been hired by Liberty Life. And we had just started training. And at training, Go Liberty, they had what they call Project 100. What Project 100 is where you write a list of 100 contacts that are close to you. Could be family, could be friends, neighbors, people that know you. But it's 100 contacts that you feel understand you. Could be people from your previous job that still feel for you, or that you've got a very close relationship with. So you had to put that. So, and now as you are learning during training about different products, when they tell you about the education plan, you already have in mind who you wanna approach and speak about this. When they speak about certain investments, that the company has, you attach certain prospects to those solutions. To think, hey, I know so and so, and I think they'd want to invest. So every product you almost like plug somebody from your Project 100 there. Not that you were supposed to do that, but yeah. And I think the training went on for about 6 weeks to about a month. I can't remember. I think it was 6 weeks. I think it was about 2 months. So at the end of the training, now we can sell. Now we can go out to market. Now we can start earning. Now we can start making money of the Project 200, Project 100. So now the people you've been phoning to say, hey, I've got a job. Hey, I'm so excited. I'll come and speak to you. I sell insurance now, but we'll talk when I'm done. I'm still in training. And they'll be like, yeah, sure, come see me, definitely, Tebogo. I'm so glad you're well, Now it's time now. Now you start phoning these people. Now this Project 100, you don't throw it away. It's not a tip that you get in training, that we give you this tip, just have your Project 100. No. It is required that you have it. Your manager has to sign it off. in the first 2 months of you working. How have you performed against that and whatnot and whatnot? Looking at other objectives as well. I mean, sometimes you are brand new to selling. Sometimes you are brand new to selling and selling insurance at the same time. It can be a scary thing. Insurance are not easy to sell. Unlike where I was coming from at the time, where you're selling alcohol, which everybody wants. Everyone is on your phone. I had a massive phone book. Lots of friends. Lots of entertainer friends, lots of DJs, lots of event organizers, promoters, because I was sponsoring events, I was sponsoring gatherings, you're the guy that had the alcohol, you were the plug. Now with insurance, no, you're not selling that. In fact, in insurance, you're selling something that's intangible. Especially when you're selling life insurance. You're telling someone that after you've died, 9 months later, when your estate winds up, we will pay to your beneficiaries this. You're selling something that people are not gonna, the person that's actually buying the product, paying for the product, is not gonna see it. So it's not easy. Now it's my first week, I'm selling on the phone. Project 100. I'll exclude my parents out of this because parents will always support you, Parents, I mean, my kids, if they come to me and they say, I'm selling soil, I'll buy it, Parents will always support you. But it's everyone else on my list that I was having a problem with. No one is answering my calls, though. No one's answering my calls. I don't have a problem with being a bad salesman, where you came, you said, you spoke to me, and I just could not convince you. Or it's just a matter of, Tebza not now. I think in about a year, I'll be ready for some sort of insurance and so forth. No, it was none of that. People were not meeting you at all. People were not answering your calls. Those that were answering your calls were postponing, Like, no, Tebza, mfonele next week. Next week you call, Tebza mfonele Tuesday. Tuesday I phone Tebza mfonele tonight. Tuesday tonight you call, Tebza phone me in the morning. I'm so exhausted. Hey Tebza, I forgot my phone at home. I was charging my phone. If we had WhatsApp in those days, I would have been so blue ticked. Anyway, it was sad. I think you must understand that I've just lost a house. I've just lost a job. I've just lost a certain life. You're suffering somewhat, even socially, because you're no longer the cool dude now. And you're making it worse with these phone calls because now you're alienating yourself further. Where now all of a sudden people don't want to take your calls. People don't want to see you. Even when they meet you physically, they take a corner. They avoid you physically and you see it. That hit me. It hit home hard. And I remember sitting the first Friday of the month. My manager's name was Jimmy, and Jimmy came, and he's like, Tebs, how's the Project 100 going? And I was like, hey, Jimmy, it's tough, Jimmy, it's tough. And he tried to encourage me, have a little patience, it's like this. Second week, now you're phoning the same person for the 50th time, in the whole list now. You can see that, I think I put the wrong names here, but what right names do you put? Because these are the people you knew. Groove Albona, you know how much money they have, what they're spending out there on the liquor tables, you know their lifestyle, man, what they're driving, how they're living, and you think you're just presenting some sort of responsibility things, some have kids, you want to speak, even if it's educational plan, even if it's retirement planning, some hustlers, some entrepreneurs. No one was taking my calls, dog. No one. Those that were just not biting. I remember the second Friday, And there I am with Jimmy. He's on my desk again. Hey, Tebs, how's it going? This time Jimmy saw me take that Project 100 and tear it. I think I was so emotional at the time, and I didn't even speak to him, you know. I just said, no, Jimmy, I can't do this. Started tearing that piece of paper up. Man. You know, it's almost like you are resigning, and he calls me to the office. He tells me to pick up the shreds so that people don't see, because he needs to report on it upwards, you know, on all of us, you know, all his subordinates, how we're tracking on the Project 100. And we get to his office. I tell him, nah, Jimmy, I can't do this. I can't do this, Jimmy. And he you know, he's trying to counsel me, you know. He can see that I'm having it hard, man. I'm having it hard. I'm near tears. These are people I was so proud of my list, you know, prior to that, to say, Jimmy, yeah, I've got gold here. You know, I used to tell him that. So, and in that same meeting, I take out my phone. I think I kept about less than 10 numbers, you know, like family, close family. And the rest, I deleted my phone book. It was full of useless contacts. It was full of people that don't answer. It was full of people that won't give me an ear. It was full of people that were avoiding me. So I deleted my phone book. It's like, I don't need it. And he's like, so Tebs, what are you going to do? Because he thought I was resigning. And I was like, nah, Jimmy, I came here for a purpose. I said, I'm not resigning. He's like, so now what about the Project 100? I said, I don't know how you're going to work out the Project 100, but I'm not resigning. I'm going to give you your numbers. Let me just figure it out first. Just give me the weekend. It was a Friday. I said, let's talk on Monday. On Monday, I was at his office in the morning, fresh now, feeling better. You know, I've had a whole weekend without temptation, to phone this number. Maybe the guy will listen. Without temptation to look at the Project 100 and say maybe, because you write on it, you know, you write some notes on it to say, this one said this one said that, and you give yourself hope in that, because they give you false hope as well, you know. So I didn't have that the whole weekend. It was one of the most beautifulest weekends. The only stress about my weekend then was that I didn't have money, I didn't have sales, I needed petrol money, you know, I needed to see some sales with 2 weeks. I'm actually a week and a half to, you know, when the sales close for that month, you know, your production credit. And I said to him, look, I'm going to go cold calling. You know, I've got a plan. I'm only going to be in the office every day. And I tell him, every single day I'll be in the office for maximum an hour. These phones are not going to work for me. I'll do some cold calling on the phone. I'll try and get some leads. And I'll work on the leads for an hour every day. And the rest of the day I'm going to go cold calling. You know, this day it will be that company, that day it will be that company. I'll knock on the doors. And he's like, Tebs, that's very tough, but I like your spirit. You are determined. Let's give it a go. But I need those numbers, because it's the only way I can justify upwards now with this Project 100. I'm like, cool. I think that month I got paid 2,450. I don't forget it. I was so excited. I was just excited that I brought some business in and I got paid. You know, it wasn't the value of all the business I brought that month. Some came after the cutoff date for the month. So, and the scale just kept on going up month after month. I think I worked there for 2 years straight. At the end of that year, first year, I was a top salesman in our region and in his team. When bonuses were declared, I was the only guy that got bonuses in that team. I wasn't fucking around. I was even selling corporate insurance, to small businesses who needed like provident funds, who needed things like that. I was moving all that stuff. I wasn't playing, man. I think by the time I left there, to cut a long story short, I even had 2 PAs that I was paying out of my own money. So the point I'm trying to make is, I decided to start afresh and go through the most for what I wanted. And I achieved it because when I left there, I had already raised enough money to go back into business, which is what I did. Now, a lot of people don't want to do that. A lot of people don't want to work. A lot of people, they take the first obstacle and they give up. Because they're going through something. I had even adjusted my social life, my social conversations, my social interactions. I knew that I won't speak to friends about insurance. Even if now they wanted me to speak to them about insurance. Because now, I wasn't like any other insurance guy. I was living well. I had money. I wasn't living like, I was living against the stereotype of this is what insurance people do and this is how they live and this is how they struggle. No, I wasn't struggling. I was making money. I was earning more money than I earned at my previous job. I managed to do so much with it. We find that same problem now today in entrepreneurship. We'll talk about it another time, where we can't even talk to entrepreneurs about medical aid. Entrepreneurs don't have medical aid, don't have provident funds, don't have savings, don't have, all their money is it's for the good time, it's for Instagram. Now we couldn't talk as friends about it, but I had adjusted. I knew that, okay, cool. I've got no emotion to this now. When I'm with friends, we'll speak alcohol and women or whatever whatever the discussion is, football. I made money off strangers. I was taking strangers in my car for medicals. I was being led by strangers in their homes to come and speak to them about financial planning and estate planning and all those kind of things. Strangers, total strangers. And they made me money. So never be afraid, never be ashamed, never doubt, never hesitate going through what God wants you to go through at that time, if it's God. Especially for what you want. That's the message I just wanted to share, man. That's my story. And I went through it. It's like if you think this relates to you, share, subscribe. Till the next episode, peace.